Let's unpack this. We've got quite a bit of research here centered on Romans 12, verses 1 through 8. Really potent stuff. Our mission today is a deep dive into this idea of a transformed life. What's the cost? How does it actually work? And what do the sources say spiritual worship really is? And right away, our analysis flags this central conflict. Which is easier for you? Is it conforming to the world around you, or is it actively choosing transformation?
Yeah, and the sources are pretty clear on that one.
They are. Conforming is easier. Transformation, though, that takes real intentionality.
Exactly. And that intentionality, that's what we want to unlock today. It's not just about what transformation is, but how it happens. We're going to focus quite a bit on, how our thinking has to change and why this idea of spiritual worship demands sacrificing, our entire being.
And the sources, they don't sugarcoat the difficulty, do they? Transformation is described as genuinely hard. It takes conscious effort. Often comes with what some devotionals call pain and sacrifice. I mean, walking through the wilderness or the valley of the shadow of death, that's pretty intense language.
It is intense. And it raises that question. Doesn't that tension, the painful struggle versus the good news, seem a bit contradictory?
It can feel that way sometimes.
Well, the sources tend to reconcile it by stressing the purpose. The struggle isn't just, pointless suffering. It's framed as a necessary test. The key command is right there in verse 2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Okay.
And the whole point of that mind renewal, that difficulty, is so you can actually discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. So the pain, it serves a purpose, a positive one.
Right. So the mind is the battleground. But Paul kicks off the whole discussion back in verse 1, talking about the physical body. He urges us to present our bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, and calls that our spiritual worship.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating there is how much that flips the script on worship. I mean, for the original audience, sacrifice meant something very specific, right?
Yeah.
An animal on an altar.
Right, a literal ritual.
Exactly. Paul just turns that completely on its head.
Yeah.
True spiritual worship isn't about external rituals like bringing a bull or whatever. It's internal. It's a lifelong offering. It's making every choice every single day a conscious act dedicated to God. It's about resisting that constant pull from the world to just, go with the flow.
Which takes a huge amount of self-awareness. And that leads right into verse 3, where the sources highlight this need for sober judgment.
Yes.
That critical self-assessment, cautioning against thinking of yourself more highly than he ought to think. You can't offer that living sacrifice properly if you've got an inflated view of yourself, can you?
No, absolutely not. Humility is really the groundwork for what comes next. Because this transformed life, it isn't meant to be lived alone.
Right.
It's lived in community.
Okay.
So Paul immediately pivots, verses 4 and 5, to that metaphor of the body. The point isn't just that we're all different. It's that we need each other. We're interdependent. We're one body in Christ, but all the members have different specialized functions.
Okay, so let's connect that renewed, humble mind back to those functions. What does this actually look like in practice? Transformation seems to lead straight into using specific gifts.
Right.
But the sources seem just as focused on the attitude behind the action as the action itself.
That's exactly it. It's the quality of the action that matters. Look at prophecy. It's supposed to be used in proportion to faith. That requires, calibration, humility. Then you get the more action-oriented gifts.
Yeah.
Service, teaching, exhortation. They're listed.
Right.
But when Paul gets to things like contributing or leading, the emphasis really shifts to how you do it.
Looking at verses 7 and 8, you really see that required attitude. If you have the gift of contributing, you do it with generosity, not like grudgingly. If you're leading, it's with zeal, with seriousness, with diligence. And maybe the most striking acts of mercy need to be done with cheerfulness, not out of pity or just obligation.
Yeah, and that kind of brings the whole cycle together nicely, doesn't it? The transformation, it starts inside with renewing the mind, and then it flows outward into active, humble, and, cheerful service that builds up the whole community. It's less about just identifying your gift and more about making sure your renewed attitude shapes how you actually use it.
That whole dynamic internal then external process, that really seems to be the core message here. So maybe we can leave you with this thought. It's drawn straight from some of the reflections we looked at. Where are you right now feeling tempted to just conform to the world instead of being transformed? And maybe what specific part of your life needs that renewed mindset this week so you can shift from just kind of living passively to making a genuine spiritual offering?